You're listening to the Floyd Main Street Podcast. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm your host, Lucas Graham, back for another edition of this week's Floyd Main Street Podcast. Joining me today, Mr. Eric Branscombe. Eric, how's it going?
Lucas, how's it going, man?
We're doing all right today. Also joining us, back from his week-long hiatus, is Mr. Chad Harris. Chad, how are you doing today?
Good, man. Good to be back.
Yeah, did you have a good week off?
Yeah, it was great.
Because you weren't here?
That's right.
Hey, we got a lot to talk about this week. We mentioned it last week about a Board of Supervisors meeting. Chad's back. He came back this week just to break that down. Another case, we'll talk about a Zach Hall case that just wrapped up, didn't it, this week? In court, Chad will be talking about also. Bank of Floyd did their grand opening ribbon-cutting ceremony.
That's right.
We'll break that down, talk about it. I think Eric had a good idea that we're just going to recap all these September closings because, unfortunately, the county has lost several businesses that have closed up, some restaurants.
It's all at once.
Yeah, September was a rough month for that. Let's jump right into it, though. The Zach Hall conviction, Chad, that just wrapped up this week, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It was set for a jury trial, actually a 2-day jury trial, Thursday and Friday. Mr. Zachary Hall, he was charged with threat by letter to a public official, which is a Class 5 felony. So the offense date on this was back in April. And again, it was set for a jury trial. They had reached a plea agreement the day of the jury trial, and Mr. Hall will be sentenced by the judge on the 20th of January at 9 a.m.
That was a case that we had to hand over to Roanoke County since I was one of the people involved in that. It was me and Ron Devon, the clerk of the court, that these threats were issued against. And so when you have a situation like that, it's not an infrequent topic for us, is conflict of interest. And so what we have to do in a situation like that is reached out to another Commonwealth Attorney's office and see if they had the ability to come up here. And Roanoke County was able to take care of that for us. And they just took over the case from the very beginning.
What determines that when you remove yourself from it and have a special prosecutor? Is there any type of parameters or any process that you go through to select one in lieu of you, or do you make that selection?
I'll often make the selection simply because it's a matter of there's an informal process amongst Commonwealth Attorney's Office that we help each other out with things.
Okay.
So, for example, the City of Martinsville Prosecutor's Office has helped us out with some contractor fraud cases and some other things like that. So we're helping them with some of the issues that they have when they have a conflict, and that happens with all these other jurisdictions. I've gone far to the north, down far south as Bristol and Tazewell County to help out with things. It's just a matter of how far abroad someone thinks they need to go to get someone who is not going to be affected by something.
Right. Chad, this case we're talking about with the Zach Hall case, this is kind of what led to all the revamp of court security that people are seeing now, right?
It certainly added to it.
Yeah. That's a lot of feedback we saw for the court security but these threats, you have to take them seriously.
Even though I threaten Eric all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm in fear for my life from Chad. Fortunately, it's hard to stay out of the reach of those long arms.
Yeah, it is.
The only thing that's a little bit questionable about this is they subpoenaed, 70 jurors? Is that right?
That's right.
So 70 jurors come in. It's got to be a little bit disheartening for them to have to take a day off, come in, spend an hour only to find out, hey, this thing ain't going to trial. It's been pled out. Can you talk a little bit about that, Eric?
I don't know the specifics of that one because I was completely out of the loop for that. But I can tell you that it's easy for people to say that they want a jury trial. It's easy for defense attorneys to say that they want a jury trial. But when it comes right down to having to get there and face it, so, you're taking a big chance with going in front of a jury. And that from the defense standpoint, your client could be locked up that very day and lose everything all at once. And it's a matter of a lot of times juries are triggered by emotions. And so I would be surprised if the recent events in the country with the Charlie Kirk assassination and some of the other prominent political threats and so forth going on didn't play a part in their considering that they didn't want to have this set out there for a jury. And so it's just a matter of what they wanted to do and how they wanted to settle it.
I'm glad you touched on that and kind of helped explain that to some of our listeners because I do think that there's probably some form of aggravation with some of these jurors when they come in like this and then they're told, hey, we don't need you.
Oh, I imagine so. I think a lot of times it's kind of a game of brinkmanship. A lot of defense attorneys will take things and say, well, we'll take it to a jury trial. Maybe they intend to, but maybe times they don't to. It's like how far they feel like they can push something, try to push the other side into settling. From my office's standpoint, we want to go ahead and have as much of that we can go to the public. But in the end, Virginia has become a state where a judge does the sentencing. So juries used to sentence in Virginia, and that made a big difference as far as what kind of things you would take to a jury. It's a lot different now that if you get past the guilt or innocence, then a judge decides what the punishment's going to be, and that's going to be the same. So as long as you know your judge, you know where it's going to go. So I know, for example, from practicing as much as we do in front of Judge Fleener, our circuit court judge, how he's going to approach a drug charge or a burglary charge or a vandalism charge. We've just seen so many of them, you get used to that. And so sometimes you'll see plea agreements reflect that, not to the point of trying to avoid things, but just trying to keep the process moving forward.
Right. That kind of leads us right into the next thing I wanted to mention. Something you were talking about before we started recording today was the political parties, because this local case with Mr. Hall making threats to your office and then the court with Miss Vaughn, that's a common theme in other places, and it's actually caused political parties to come out and make statements.
People listening and paying attention to the news are going to know it's happening across the country. It's happening around the world. It's even happening all through Virginia. There was just a case in the last week where a lady who was running for the House of Delegates in Dinwiddie County was threatened. It was the same sort of things, threatening by text, and the man that did that was picked up and charged, and of course that'll be heard at some point. But locally, we have seen a lot of people that are politically active getting together and making statements condemning that, and particularly in Floyd County, the executive committees of both the Republican and the Democratic Party had a joint meeting and made a statement, and I'll just go ahead and read it to you. It was released on Tuesday. As patriotic citizens who love our country, we condemn political violence. It is never acceptable to respond to free speech with violent acts. We are proud to live in Floyd County, where people respond to the unthinkable with respect and restraint. We agree that the Constitution of the United States is the law of the land, and that its First Amendment protects the rights to free speech and assembly and other inalienable rights. Dialogue and the voting booth are the proper means to advance political arguments.
I think it speaks volumes that it's a joint party statement.
I think, as we all know, both the parties are
We're very
far
divided
apart
right now, and it becomes a which side are you on? It's a 50-50 world. So for both of those sides to come together and make that statement, it says a lot, but I agree entirely. Mm-hmm. We clearly live in a politically supercharged environment, but it's good to have those conversations, and you have to be able to do it in a peaceful manner.
Violence is going to be, and threats of violence are going to be taken seriously.
And what was that line there at the end that they mentioned? They said, the means through the booth.
The voting booth and dialogue.
Boom. There you go.
Feel free to talk to people, even though you may disagree with them, talk to them. And if you don't agree, we'll go to the voting booth and vote your conscience.
Yeah, that's right.
And we've got early voting underway.
That's been kicked off for a couple weeks now.
That's right. It started September 19th and still going on.
Yeah.
Come by the courthouse.
From what I've gathered from local officials that are working in that, it's been a really good turnout so far of early voting.
I've been seeing people come in. It's fairly brisk.
A couple hundred a day, I think.
Yeah, which, that probably blows the record out of the last time, because I know at least one of them that mentioned he didn't see but maybe 4 or 5 people a day. Now they're getting that many in. So a lot of people are switching to that. Changing gears, since you're back, Chad, I don't know anybody better to talk about the Board of Supervisors meeting.
This wasn't a bad one. It really wasn't. It was about 3 hours and 42 minutes, but an hour and 25 of that, I assume they were in closed session. When they came out, they approved the disbursements, and that included approval for cheerleader uniforms. Billy from TRC presented an update on the landfill, and they talked about DEQ, groundwater monitoring, and projected data to close the landfill. And they're saying that if everything continues the way that they're monitoring, it looks like the landfill could officially be closed by 2030. Just basically said that things are headed in the right direction there. So moving on, Jacob Agee with Parks and Recreation presented a PowerPoint. He touched on the total of youth sports participants at 1,089. He talked about facility maintenance and improvements, special events, senior programs. This is a fun fact that he put out. Per the U.S. Census, Floyd citizens on average are 7.5 years older than the average Virginian. And the projection is by the next census, the average age in Floyd will be over 50. So we're essentially headed towards a retirement community.
Wow.
But that makes sense considering we have a little bit of industry, but not very much.
Like you talk about Don Kenny, when that business closed down, and those types of jobs, those sustainable jobs, we still have H&V, but there's been other plants back in there that have closed down over the years. So people outsource, they get out of the county for the jobs, and then next thing you know, they're moving. I could tell you people from my generation, I'm 35, I could easily name you 5 or 6 families off the top of my head that lived in Floyd, from Floyd. One of them worked at the garment factory. It was back there near T&E Engine. And when they shut down, got to go find something to pay the bills.
Yeah.
So they ended up getting a job in Christiansburg, and now they live over there, which maybe makes sense to that. I know that's not the only thing that's playing into that, but my mind instantly goes to why.
Yeah, it's certainly something to think about.
Yeah.
He touched on this because some of the programs he was presenting to the board targeted seniors. So he spoke on their budget at $363,000, 48% of that going to staffing, of course, and he talked about youth sports. The supervisors touched on their meeting dates and time changes. So once time rolls back in October, they'll start having their meetings at 6 instead of 7. The county approved all county employees to have the 2nd of January off. So there's a free holiday for everybody that's a county employee. They passed a proclamation for Election Worker Appreciation Day, and that's the 11th of November. They approved a new road, Heartwood Farms Circle Northwest, and they voted on signage for our new county building with their established seal and using the words government building.
You don't want to mix it up with something else.
Then Kalinda made a motion to appoint Kim Cheeto as our new county administrator, in which Jerry seconded, and it was voted unanimously 5-0.
What do you think about it, Eric?
So a $59 million budget, and the advertisement was for a period of 12 days from the point that they advertised to it. The period for a possible application closed at 4 p.m. on a Sunday. We saw some of the comments from the chairman involving this. I believe that the chair said, "I just wish we could have done it sooner." How does that make any sense whatsoever? She took over immediately from the point that Ms. Millsaps was resigned in the middle of the night, in the middle of the week.
Maybe he wanted that to happen sooner.
Then there's the idea of opening it up for people to see. If you really wanted to have a wide open, let's find the best person possible to take over this, do you really advertise only on your own website in the news section, not in the career section? It just strikes me disingenuous. I'm not saying that Ms. Cheeto isn't qualified for this. That's fine if she's the person qualified and so forth. It's just the way that it's done just continues some of the concerns that we've seen over the past months.
To me, the common sense theme of it is it would have behooved the county to extend that period to find a broader reach for candidates because, I mean, not to beat a dead horse here, but it's an important position.
You'd think that they'd think it was an important position, but you get the impression that they didn't really think it was an important position, or they didn't think that they needed to bother to look any further. I can understand that they didn't want to look any further.
What you're saying is the supervisors had their mind made up. Okay, we want Kim Cheeto as our next county administrator, and this is what we want. How do you think they should have presented that if that were the case?
You can look at other counties as a good example. Amelia County is going through the same process. They're about the same size. They're in central Virginia, and their advertisement is on the Virginia Association of Counties. It's an organization that everybody that looks for work in the local government operation goes to that to find. So you see things from all manner of jobs with local counties that are done there, including people that are county administrators, deputy administrators, social services, all those different items that take place in jobs that are in the local government. It wasn't advertised there. What Amelia County did is they said, we're holding it open until it's filled. They didn't even set a set date. They hold it open, and they advertised it to get people to put in. I imagine if they, after a certain period of time, a month or so, you don't have a certain number of candidates, you could set a certain amount of time. But if you don't advertise, no one's going to know about it. You're essentially saying that you're happy with what you got, and you're not going to even look any further. But if you're not even looking any further, why act like you're looking?
It's interesting. We've gotten plenty of feedback on it. It seems like the residents of the county are vested in it too. And look, at the end of the day, I think you would be disingenuous yourself if you don't agree with this. If you're a resident of Floyd County, we all want to see Floyd succeed. We want to see it grow. We want to see it prosper. That starts at that position, at that level. We want to make sure that the person's making the right decisions, that knows how to be fiscally responsible and take care of the county's budget. We talk about it because we care. And that's the end of the day is I want to see the right person in the position that can make our county be the best version of itself that it can be.
And I'm not saying that Ms. Cheeto isn't the person to do that. I just would expect that the people that are running the show would want to take a good, honest, hard look at it, then make that decision. And I'd expect more of it to be in the open, but
alas, keeping it with new things. I'm sorry. I'll sorry about that, Chad. Was that not the end of the meeting?
No, a couple more things.
I'm getting a little ahead of myself here.
They spoke on the green boxes getting taken back to places that they were originally taken from. I don't know if you guys noticed out here on Route 8, just outside of town, those green boxes have been gone for a certain period of time. And there was some people putting some trash out by the recycling bin, and then that got kicked over to the sheriff's office's plate to investigate. Kind of looked like a monkey see, monkey do, like a couple bags of trash, and then next thing you know, you've got piles of bags of trash from people seeing that site and saying, well, I'm just going to put mine here too.
So that was unforeseeable.
It's definitely just one of those things that's a casualty of war.
We did talk about it on here.
The war on the bears?
Yeah. We did talk about it, that we were going to start seeing that. You start yanking all those green boxes away, that people are going to start dumping their trash. They're just, they're going to get rid of it one way or the other.
That's right. They want to try to get these green boxes, I guess, back to these original locations just to prevent some of that. So it is what it is. But Joe asked about using compactors at a new site to save money. I'm not real sure which site he was talking about, but they did bring up that topic just briefly. So they may be moving in that direction of actually exploring these.
Maybe that's at the site down there in Willis that has the $1 million grading.
It could be, but I don't think that's the site they were talking about.
Okay.
And then the county administrator gave her report, which was tower updates, holding court.
Would she have been interim at that point?
No, she is official.
She had already signed. Okay.
The tower update, the holding court in the county building, and talking about the bank still moving some things and what they're leaving behind and so forth. And that's it, man. It wasn't a whole lot.
Compared to the last few that we've talked about, they were much more extended than that.
Endured, I think, would be the term.
There we go.
Endured.
You can always count on a lawyer to find the right word. The bank opening. Anybody that's come through town, we're talking about this yesterday about the Bank of Floyd. They got their building up, but how quick all that got done.
They had the grand opening yesterday. We talked about it before, but I was able to make it down there. I think you were there, and so was Chad. And
some barbecue, some baked beans. They had some great food. I mean,
some music playing and lots of speechifying.
You know, there was, I don't remember his name.
They give the history on the banks.
Yes.
Mr. Jarrett.
That was very interesting.
That was awesome. And he talked about how originally Floyd essentially had two banks.
The Democratic Bank and the Republican Bank.
That one blew my mind. That one got me.
The Republican Bank was in Blue Ridge, and the Democratic Bank was in Blue Ridge Land and Auction.
That's what I gathered, yeah. Yep.
And I don't know who it was came in and said, all right, y'all going to have to come to bring it together and create one bank.
It was so cool. I looked over at Chad when he sat down. We both said at the same time, like, man, I'd like to sit down and talk to this guy for a while. Over a cup of coffee, man, he could really break some history down. I think he opened it really well because he said, you know, I was here when this bank opened.
75 years ago.
75 years ago, and I'm here today, the day it closed. That's pretty cool.
Not a lot of people can say that, I don't imagine.
Not at all, but looks like everything was a hit. I mean, there was a big crowd down there.
Oh, yeah. It's a good crowd.
A lot of who's who of the town. The mayor was there. I saw Mr. Terman, board supervisor chairman, was there. A lot of people within the community.
Doug Phillips, the mayor of Indian Valley.
Yeah, the mayor of Indian Valley, Mr. Phillips.
Right.
Yeah,
Doug was there. That's right.
He said that to him, and he just shook his head. He knew. He agreed. But it was a great way to celebrate a new chapter for the bank and to put a big bookend on it for everything that was opening with the county this month, the new flooring company, new bank. We've had some sad closings, too.
And we talked about it before. So this September's a hard month. We lost Giraldi's, the Italian eatery. We lost the Floyd jewelry store, and we lost the Parkway Grill as well.
And those are three, I would even argue that three staples of the county, at least the jewelry store. You know, she'd been around for, what was the number, 30?
I think it was 30 years.
30 years.
Plus or minus a little bit.
You know, and I hate to see those places go. And Giraldi's, man, anybody went through town, seen how busy they were. Chad, you said they were actually turning people away. They just couldn't keep up.
Yeah, it was a madhouse in there Tuesday.
Speaking of which, though, we mentioned last week, we said, what do you want to see? Remember, we said in the comments, and we heard. You guys spoke out. You want Italian back. Chinese, there was a couple people I think mentioned Chinese.
And Japanese.
So for those listening that doesn't know, your host doesn't apparently know the cultural difference. Chad made sure to let me know that kabuki is in fact not Chinese. So pardon that reference.
You learn
last
something
week.
here every day.
You can take the boy out of Floyd, but you can't take the Floyd out of the boy, I guess. But you know that I do hope to see something come in its place. I did see one comment. Somebody said, ugh, KFC. I think Eddie mentioned KFC. Somebody put the throwing up emoji. They didn't want KFC. So sorry, Eddie. I think you got downvoted on that one. But, you know, there's still good places to eat in Floyd. Dino's is up and running. They're booming.
Yeah, there's lots of good places. It's not to say that there aren't other good places. It was just that these were some that were near and dear to a lot of people's hearts.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
But now I think it's time, the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Yeah. So we saw a spike last week in numbers. We talked about it a little bit before the show, and I think we're going to attribute that to Mr. Marshall in the football segment.
I think it's entirely Colton. Colton is carrying the show at this point.
Yeah, he's going to take us through.
That's why we wait. We get all the boring stuff in first, and then Colton gets
put the meat of it right in the middle, so we got to wait for it. Colton, man, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
We talked last week about Fort Chiswell matchup coming up. I'm going to give you the floor because our boys wiped the floor of Fort Chiswell, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Break that game down for us and just kind of how the process, everything went. I know it ended early, but we were still able to make a pretty bold statement before the Lightning came.
It's a pretty good thing when your starting quarterback leaves the game in the second quarter.
Wow.
Not because of injury, just because that's how the game was going. And a big reason for that, like I said, our quarterback when he has 1 carry for 1 touchdown, he has 2 pass attempts, 1 go for a touchdown. Both of our wingbacks are averaging a touchdown per carry. Pretty dominant offensive performance the other night. And no disrespect to Fort Chiswell, but they were winless on the year. They got shut out by Carroll the previous weekend. Carroll's total, I believe, is 42 something along that line. And we matched that in 2 quarters. So
that's pretty impressive.
No disrespect to either team, just that's a great performance for us, especially when lightning is the reason why the game ends in the 3rd quarter.
So you said Sam Phillips, a quarterback, he only had just a handful of pass attempts then, didn't he? I mean, he didn't need to throw the ball more, but...
Right, yeah, and both plays, deep pass to Gabe Holt to start the game. Great catch by him, and then later on, just a simple check down to J.P. Dunford, and he cut it up for a touchdown.
That's pretty good efficiency.
Yeah.
Averaging a touchdown per carry for the running backs, I mean...
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I literally don't think he gets any better than that.
It does not.
That's perfection.
What about the defense? What did you see from the defense that you liked?
Defense rallied to the ball. Fort Chiswell had to punt every drive or go for it on 4th down and didn't convert. I mean, they had 1 drive. Start of the 3rd quarter, we had some JV kids in, we had some backups, and they left their first team in to try to steal one from us. And,
yeah.
You know, there had been a bit of a, I wouldn't say altercation, but Fort Chiswell's coach was being pretty rude to our coach, and Coach Kramer wasn't going to let that slide. He called a timeout, put the first team defense back in. We got to stop, and it's a pretty awesome thing to see there.
He said, nuh-uh.
Yeah, Coach Kramer stood his ground and
that's pretty cool.
kept the shutout for us.
Who did you see since our starters came out so early? Because they come in and got the job done and let the younger guys come in. But did you see anybody in that game once the younger guys in before the Lightning came in and we had to cancel the game? But did anybody stand out to you, the younger guys?
Yeah, a lot of young guys came in and got to make plays. Seth Fletcher came in and backer because Jorge had to leave the game. That's our starting Mike, and he got his nose in there a couple times and made some great plays. Carter Chafin came in. He had a couple nice catches. JJ came in, and he got hit pretty hard on 1 catch. And he just ate it and cut it up for a big gain. And we got a lot of great kids coming up that, I mean, to be honest, we probably could have played them and been completely fine.
Yeah. But, man, that just speaks to the program. You know,
right,
we talked about it last week I asked you, how long did it take for the kids to buy into what Coach Cromer was selling? Because, man, when you can get them to buy into it, it becomes that next man up, right? These kids that are coming up in the elementary school now, middle school age. And when your first team guys can carry those reps out and get off the field that quick because they've taken – that just allows your next guys, your younger guys, that much extra experience. I mean, that's huge to get that much game time. At that level, at that age, I think that's pretty awesome. Who are we looking at next week? What's our matchup look like?
Oh, we got Patrick County next week, who actually, interestingly enough, our next couple games, Patrick and Carroll County, they play today. They were supposed to play last night, but weather delay postponed it to today. I think it's 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So
see how that goes. What's your prediction on that one?
Oh, shoot.
Not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot.
I'm going to have to go with Carroll County on that one.
Okay.
They're 3-1. Patrick's 2-2. Both, it should be a close game, but I'm going to have to roll with the Cavaliers on this one.
Okay. We're 2 games into our 4-game away stretch.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that right? And
Yeah.
so we got Patrick County, and what's our last of the 4-game
Got to
stretch?
go to Martinsville after
At
that.
Martinsville. Okay. Patrick County, looking at next week or even Martinsville, do they have any players that stand out to you that we really got to be looking out for?
Yeah, Martinsville's they're really athletic. They've got a couple of good guys that make some plays at wide receiver. Patrick County, they run a wing tee like us. Not exactly the same, but interesting offenses coming up.
That wing tee, does that operate like a single wing that Giles County used to run, or what's the difference in that?
For us, we have 2 wing backs, and I think I touched on last week, our primary play is the jet, and every play you probably watch this, you see one guy in motion, whether he's getting the ball, whether he's lead blocking, and that's what separates us from most wing tees is we can do that, but we can also spread it out and throw it deep to Gabe Holt and all these guys that just make plays.
Something I see from the high school level to the pro level is how many guys go in motion now, pre-snap. What's the importance of creating that motion pre-snap? Are you trying to see how the defense reacts to see what kind of coverage they're set up in, or what's the primary goal of putting a guy in motion, or essentially every play?
A lot of that, putting guys in motion, like you said, to see the coverages. Also, when you put that guy in motion, some defenses, they try to tee off on us, but when they see that motion, they're thinking, oh, he's getting the ball, or that's where the ball's going. So then we can mix it up. We can change the cadence up. So then that's free 5 yards or
Just a basic decoy.
right. Yeah, that is the base of our offense.
I mean, it makes sense because the closest thing I can relate to is Madden on Xbox.
Yeah.
And I can run the jet sweep and then run the fake jet sweep up the middle and gain about 20 yards.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I could sit and talk all day about plays and breaking it down. I think it's awesome. I love what Coach Cromer's doing. It seems like he's got the locker room. Those kids are ready to go to battle for him every week. And the efficiency. Talked about last week in practice about how there's not any downtime. I mean, you're getting at it beginning to end at practice. But when that kind of prep work goes into it, you see the results that you see against Fort Chiswell, right? Because I said it's a team. Good teams beat the teams that they're supposed to beat.
That's right. Yeah.
But not only did we do that, we come in, took care of business, and was able to get our starters, our first team guys, off the bench to get rest.
That's right.
I mean,
yeah.
It doesn't sound like it gets any better than that.
Right. Yeah.
I love it.
Hurts Sam Phillips a little. Not to always talk about him, but the other week, multiple news outlets, he was their player of the week. And we were laughing about in the locker room, said, you're probably not getting it this week, only touching the ball 3 times.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But, that shows you they only have to touch the ball 3 times and then it'll be a blowout like that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So Patrick County next week, about a 7 o'clock, 7:30?
Should be 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. All right, at Patrick County, which is not too far from here. So if you're able to, get on down there to Patrick County and support our Buffaloes.
That's right, yeah.
All right.
Have to say, I think there's more Floyd County fans than Fort Chiswell fans the other night. So that speaks a lot, especially an hour away.
About an hour down the road, that's pretty awesome when the away team can pack the house more. We love it. We love that our community and how much they support the Buffaloes and support the football program. Don't forget to show up this week and do the same thing at Patrick County.
Right.
Yeah.
The other time you're talking about player of the game and who I thought stood out.
Yeah.
Well, I had a couple people ask me, well, why didn't you mention me or why didn't you mention me?
All right. Who's your guys this week, Colton?
I don't have anybody specifically, but since I would like to say I'm a lineman at heart, and they were pretty offended for my guys, Bradley Connor, Philip Morris, Andrew Turner, Owen West, and Braden Alley. I'm sorry I didn't mention my big boys last time. I'll make up for it this time. I love you guys, and that's my...
I don't even know these guys personally, but for when y'all listen to this, I'm going to show you how I know that Colton appreciates you. Colton, true or false, you're only as good as your line.
That's right, true.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Colton Marshall joining us again this week. Talk about some Buffalo football. We appreciate the heck out of you, man. You're awesome. I'm super impressed because y'all just hear him talking, and you hear him throwing stats out and plays, but this boy ain't got a lick of notes in front of him.
No notes, just off the cuff.
Off the cuff, which is incredibly impressive. But
Thank
Colton,
you.
man, we appreciate the heck out of you. We look forward to hearing about it more, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
Colton
Colton.
Marshall. All right, that was Colton Marshall, assistant coach, Floyd County Buffaloes. I've come to enjoy him. It's only been twice, but I think we'll keep him around. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I think we've got another Chad replacement here.
Or Eric replacement.
An Eric replacement? Yeah. That's what I heard of. All right, let's talk about some events and stuff coming up this week in the county. I know the country store's got several things, but Chad, what do you have to the table for us?
Well,
this
first off, let's just clarify one thing from a couple of episodes back. We had received an email, and of course, I wasn't here last week to bring this up, but there was a listener that reached out and wanted to let us know that we had misspoke on Mickey G's in Maples Restaurant's location. It's actually at Old Mill Golf Resort and not at Primland.
Okay.
So just wanted to clarify that to the listeners out there. I know Mickey G's got a big following from Floyd, and so sorry about that, guys.
Sorry about that, and thank you to the listener that sent that in and corrected us on it, because I'm sure if there was anybody listening that went to Primland,
They would notice the difference, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Stonewall United Methodist Church and Church of the
that's
Brethren.
right.
I guess, okay, so that's right there at Stonewall Road. Those two
That's
churches
right.
sit
Right
side
there,
by
yeah, those
side.
two churches are right next to each other.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing a joint fall sale coming up next Saturday, October 4th, starting at 8 a.m. This is what I love about church fall sales. Pecan pies, pound cakes, salsas, pickles, jellies, relish, cowboy candy, chow chow, dilly beans, fried pies, and more.
Got to get some of that chow chow.
It
Homemade
all
chow
sounds
chow.
good.
It all sounds good, yeah. Nobody can bake like a church lady.
Oh, yeah.
All the proceeds go to Camp Bethel and their youth church camp.
Okay.
Camp Bethel is the camp that's up in Botetourt County. That wasn't very
It's the official camp of the United Methodist Church, I believe.
Brethren's.
Brethren.
It's a Brethren church camp, yeah.
All right. I stand corrected. A couple days before that, Thursday, October 2nd, there's a drive-up flu clinic coming up at Tri-Area, right?
9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's right. At the Floyd location.
They're right there on Christiansburg Pike, right?
Yeah, 140 Christiansburg Pike.
All right.
No appointment necessary, and it's open to everybody.
I don't remember seeing these pop-up clinics like that until COVID. You had to drive through for the COVID shot. Now they're doing things like this to where you just roll up, get your flu shot, and be out the door without having to get out of your car. Pretty neat. Eric, what else we got going on here? I know there's some country store stuff I can hit on.
We have a revival taking place at the Pika Church of the Brethren. That's October 5th through the 7th. Apparently, they're having 2 meetings per day during that time, in the morning at 11 a.m. and then at 7 p.m. That may not be 11 a.m. for each one of those dates, but that's what it looked like on the flyer.
Country store, also on Thursday, October 2nd, from 5 to 6 p.m., they're doing a fall partner dance workshop, $30 a couple. And it's this time they're doing basic two-stepping. So I love some good honky-tonk music, and that's what is required to dance to honky-tonk music is a little two-stepping. So it is $30 a couple. The lesson goes from 5. It says from 5 to 550. And are you brand new to partner dancing, the rhythm of Texas two-step, maybe even a little nervous, then this is the perfect class for you. And that will be right there at the country store. Keeping it there. A couple days later, on Saturday night, they're bringing back the Floyd radio show. This is the 13th season of this. They've been doing it for a little while, but they'll do a broadcast of a radio show live at the Jamboree. So for the premiere this year, which starts at 7 p.m., they're going to be bringing in the Burnett Sisters, Up Jump Trouble, and Scott Ansley. And this is a ticketed event, $20 general admission, $25 reserved, and you can get those on the Floyd Country Store website. But that will be a big event. The radio show is always a hit. I mean, they pack the place out. It's an old-timey feeling, kind of how the old radio programs used to be back in the day where they broadcast out of Nashville. It's a pretty cool little thing, but that's coming up on the 4th.
Right around that time, of course, October 4th, that's when we have the craft fair out at the high school. That's the big event, over 100 vendors. We talked about that.
I seen they're only doing that one day this year, Saturday.
Yeah, that is a little bit different. It used to go on to Sundays, didn't it?
Yeah.
I want to bring that up again because we did mention it last week, but it is the Women's Club. They're the ones that put this on, the Arts and Crafts Festival. Again, it's Saturday, October 4th. They're doing 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Over 100 vendors this year is what they're advertising. That one is a big one. Plan accordingly for that one because you're going to have to park far away and walk good ways to get in.
It's always drew a big crowd.
Absolutely. Now, they do a shuttle.
From the courthouse parking lot, I believe.
Yeah.
This is where it used to be.
Yeah.
That's right.
I assume it's the same this year.
Yeah,
Okay.
It would make the most sense because the park can get a little tight up there with everybody coming in.
Yeah.
So the FFA had a car show that was scheduled for today, and that's been postponed due to the weather. That's going to be October the 18th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So make sure and mark that on your calendars. Come on out for the car show.
A lot of good-looking cars show up for that thing. I love to go and see the Model Ts and the Model As that show up.
I enjoy seeing the old pickups. Any of the old pickups. Give me a good old Ford with 3-speed on the column.
Will's Ridge has a pickup that they bring over. That's a gorgeous restoration that's been done on that.
Yeah. All right. Any other events coming on this week?
Well, we got October 3rd, that Friday, where the Artisan Market is located in the town. They're going to start the ghost tours, start up again for the annual. They'll probably run through pretty much for the month of October.
Yeah.
You go on a tour for the town. And I think the next weekend, October the 17th, is when the Historic Society has its walk around town, and that's hosted by Judge Gino Williams.
That's the one, if you're a local history buff especially, do not miss.
That's
Do not
right.
miss.
Fantastic stuff. And Gino is just the master of local historians in the area. He has an amazing repository of knowledge. And so he's just fascinating to walk around just for all the different side stories he has about every little thing you come across.
I wanted to ghost tour what places in Floyd, if there's any particular buildings that are haunted.
Blue Ridge, the Blue Ridge Cafe, Restaurant, Diner is a supposed haunting by Ms. Black. So, and I experienced a few odd things there in the area that my wife was running that. So that was being there late at night. She'd sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and wonder if she turned off something. And I'd have to go back in at 2 a.m. and check it out. And
all kinds of creepy things.
There are odd noises coming from upstairs. I didn't go up there.
I could just see him with his little flashlight like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Going through the Blue Ridge Diner 2 o'clock in the morning.
Tiptoeing.
Yeah.
Trying to make most
Ruh-roh,
Let's get out of
Shaggy.
here, Shaggy.
Ruh-roh, Raggy. Come on, Titus. Oh, man.
I see that we've also got on October 4th, there is a fundraiser for the Blue Mountain School that is set to take place in the Clark Gas and Oil parking lot right here in town. So they're apparently setting up on Friday, and that'll run through the Friday and that Saturday, October 4th.
For Blue Mountain School?
Blue Mountain School Community Yard Sale.
What are they raising money for, or is it just a general fundraiser?
It looks like it's a general fundraiser sort of thing.
I think that about wraps us up.
We'll do a little plug here. I appreciate Eddie and the Safe Surfing Foundation for allowing us to be here. We talked about it last week, but this is our new home, and Safe Surfing graciously has let us into their space to be able to host, and we appreciate them and everything that they do. Look, if you guys haven't done it yet, make sure you like and subscribe. If you all did it, I wouldn't have to mention it every week. No, I'm kidding. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It is important because then you'll get the notification every time those episodes drop on Tuesday evenings. You can check us out on Facebook. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the platforms that you go to get your podcast. We should be there. And shout out to Mr. John X.
Yes, our silent partner who sits here suffering through all of our mistakes.
He did stay awake this week.
He stayed awake.
He's proud of himself if you could see him, yeah.
Well, I mean, it was easier last week, but this week with Chad and a Board of Supervisors report, it's a pretty impressive.
He drank 2 cups of coffee in anticipation of the recording today.
I give him some cowboy crack over here, so he's excited about that too.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Now, we do appreciate John and all the magic. He pieces everything together. Y'all would be amazed at the product that he's handed versus the product he hands back to us. And we appreciate the heck out of him, and Big Country Cock'em too. Big Country's taking a little bit of a break. We went to get him back, and I told him last night, I said, man, you disappointing me. He said, whoa. And I said, you just quit on us on the pod. I ain't quit on that podcast. He said, I'll do whatever you need me to. Anybody knows Bryce knows that's the country.
Yeah.
That's why he get that name, Big Country.
He's good to jump into and just help out where we need him. So.
Yeah, we appreciate the heck out of him. Anyway, but until next week, I think that should do it. And I'm going to remind you guys to take care of yourselves and take care of the ones you love. Till next week.
Treasures untold.